team spirit like in the Infinity camp? Because there was a lot of talks with them pulling out, losing their sponsors, and you know the team would have been like distraught. But what's the spirit like in there now that it's not a constructed team now?
In all honesty, I didn't have any dealings with the team whilst they were still involved with Infinity. So I only started speaking to them at Alton Park. So it wouldn't be right of me to comment on anything that's happened.
No, fully appreciate that, Max. We fully appreciate that.
Yeah,
it's a very interesting concept. Without the paras on there.
Say again.
It's a very interesting concept with having the paras there and having the grid guys rather than the grid girls and all that sort of stuff.
Actually, my grandma has been my grid girl at one point on the weekend.
Good skills.
There's a picture of that around. But yeah, no one had told me, and I just came round to my grid spot, and there's my grandma stood there with a para, so that caught me by surprise. But no, they're a great bunch of lads. They all like to take the mick out of each other and myself, so we all get along really, really well. But yeah, no, the team spirit's definitely high, and I think we're all now motivated that we've got two drivers that we can really push on with. You know, and everybody in the team is really happy that we can go forward from here and start to move up the grid. So team spirit's definitely high, and I think the other thing is that it, you know, kind of puts into perspective the issues that you do have. So people kind of go into the weekend going, oh, you've not tested the car, or you've not got a fitted seat or something like that, and then you look at Daz who's not got an arm, you know, and you're like, yeah, no, my worries aren't too bad when you know, these guys are still there doing an awesome job. You know,
yeah, massive respect to them.
And also as well, I mean, it's a sense of competition for those guys as well, because they want to be the best mechanics and the best team on the grid. They want the team championship as just as much as you want the drivers' championship.
That's it. I mean,
has it been harder to convince? You know, evidently you must have some long-term sponsors that have been with you through this journey in motorsport that you've had so far. Has it been difficult to convince them to take the step up? Because I mean, the BTCC is not cheap, not at all.
No, the link with the paras is basically one of the main reasons why we've been able to get this opportunity, and everybody that we've spoken to has been very, very interested in that. So I've been amazed at the media exposure you get in British touring cars. I never for a second could have imagined just how big it is, and I mean, put that into perspective. My Facebook page reached 35,000 people in the last week.
Wow, that's a lot.
And of course, that's going to have a knock-on effect for the sponsors as well, because that makes the negotiations, shall we say, easier when you've got real raw numbers. You know, this many people are fans of me and the team. You know. Yeah,
it's a real sellable asset. I think the team was nearly 50,000 reached last week. So. You know, combined, we're able to get to a lot of people, which is just fantastic.
Do you think the team then evidently will? Do you think more teams will follow the BMR format of expanding the cars? Because I mean, evidently there's owner drivers and privateers like you've been yourself in the past. You know, if your team decided to add, say, a third and fourth car to the grid, I mean, it's, you know, with the reputation and the media coverage you've got, they'd have no problems with filling the seats, would they, from the rest of the BTCC paddock?
Yeah, I don't really know what the situation is with that. I guess it all comes down to TOCA licenses that are available and whether the team wants to expand. I think for now, certainly from my perspective, I'm really happy to be partnered with Derek and to try and move the car forward from where we are. And as far as other cars are concerned, that's a team decision that would come from Derek Palmer, senior, and kind of other senior people within the team, rather than from myself as a driver. So I'm just quite happy to have two of us there that can both push each other on and kind of develop the car for hopefully some top 15s and top 10s a bit further down the line this season.
So as you're actually going forward then, with the development and everything going forward, I mean, have you set yourself a target for this year? Or I mean, with it just being the rest of the season and then the option for next year, are you just like using this almost like every race like a test and just keeping the car out of trouble I know it's it can be a bit, contact is racing in the BTCC sometimes, but in the early days of a team, you don't really need to be replacing full cars, do you?
No, I mean, we are we're looking to try and move our way up the grid. I mean, I think this weekend was the first time that we've had 2 cars in the top 20.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
And we'd like to see that progression move up. So, if at Snetterton we can get both cars into the top 15, that would be an incredible result. And then sort of towards the end of the year, we'd like to be able to be challengers in the top 10. That's really where we want to be, and that's kind of the focus. And really, the gap in the final race is probably only a second to get us to that top 10 kind of level running pace. And given the chance to have a test and try a couple of different things and solve some of the issues that we have, plus the fact that I've done less than 100 laps in the car,
wow,
I'm gonna find time in myself as well. I know there's probably half a second at least in me around Croft, just by pushing things and getting everything back to being how I was sort of really in 2012. But I would think by the end of this year, certainly by the end of Snetterton, I'd like to think that I'd be I'm driving it to 100% of my abilities and able to reach 100% of the car's capabilities.
Yeah. Is it that down to feel though? I mean, so somebody I remember a few years ago, one of the Silverstone instructors said, the thing with drivers, you get people driving cars, and a good driver actually wears their car. Actually, you become a part of the vehicle. And I think sometimes with feel, you can, in the setup changes and everything you must make, there's got to be a point where there's more time in the car.
Yeah, I think the time where I felt most like that is in 2012 with the Ginetta G50 running with Red Racing, and we had an incredible relationship with my engineer. We got on really, really well. We were able to find pretty much perfect setups in the car at more or less every round we went to. And to be honest with you, I went into every race fully expecting to win, and second wasn't even
an option.
Yeah, it was just win, win, win.
Yeah, it honestly never even crossed my mind that I might finish second. After Donington Park, I was just so confident in the car's ability. Thruxton was hard, to be honest, because we didn't do any tests there, and it's a fast track. But
yeah, that'd be daunting as well.
Like Croft, Donington, I never felt like there was any doubt really that I wasn't going to win. And I'd like to get to that point at the end of this, by the end of this year in the Infinity, and I really think we will. Probably not for wins, but certainly that I can feel confident to go out and finish top 10, top 15 every single time out. So I just want to be able to battle with them guys towards the front.
So the one question that I really did want to ask, which I've just noted down and just had been the questions I wanted to ask. Evidently, some drivers get tempted away and sort of do other one-off races alongside their driving in the British Touring Car Championship. So World Rallycross or Global Rallycross, or perhaps they do like some stock car racing, or something that was perhaps in their previous career where they first started to sort of still keep the hand in. Could there be anything that tempted you away for a one-off from the BTCC at the moment?
As long as it didn't clash, yeah, for sure. I work at World Rallycross at the moment with Eye on Action cameras, so I'm going to Sweden at the end of this week with them. So yeah, I'd love to have a go in a World RX car. Or
they look mint, them. They are absolutely mint.
650 brake and no worry. I think that's every dream I've ever had.
No, they are awesome. So something like that would be a lot of fun. I'm going off to do the Le Mans 24-hour kart race in a couple of weeks. So funnily enough, you should say that we were desperately trying to get entry for that for the Team R race. So we've just done this
He's been taking the mickey out of me all day because we did the corporate games yesterday and won that.
Right.
So karting. So it's like the next thing is to try and get we want to do the British 24-hour, which would be amazing. But yeah, Le Mans karting, that looks phenomenal. Yeah.
Well, I think it's in sort of like a week and a half's time now, and from what I understand, it's a 46 kart grid, and I think there's about 3 spaces left.
Oh. So tempted then. So if anybody there is from there watching this right now, and give them a free.
Go for me because I'm fat, I'm slow. So
I'll fit you in the court. Don't worry if we're going on there. I suppose really. I mean, would the main Le Mans 24-hour tempt you?
It would, but I don't think it's an option for me at the moment. I've never had any kind of offer to go and do that other than when we tried to maybe try and do something in a Porsche last year after Donington, and I've spoken, you know, at the beginning of every year all the drivers kind of look around and see what's on the cards, you know. So the new LMP3 class was quite tempting at the beginning of this year, but really British touring cars for me is where it's at, because you actually have TV coverage, you have fans, you have something that you can sell to sponsors.
I mean, you know, our fan group page is nearly 6,000 viewers, you know, 6,000 members now. Yeah. And you know, there's some ITV shows that don't get that as an audience, I think.
No.
so you know, I mean, the British touring cars is an absolute massive pull for ITV4. It's been the saviour of ITV4, and I think there's the diehard fans of the BTCC really live and breathe every bit of it completely, you know. I mean, I don't know about Sean, but I'm having withdrawal symptoms, so I've got to wait a month for the next race already.
And we'll have to hibernate when it's like the end of the season. Like, I'm not getting out of my bed until the first race of the next season comes out. Then I'll be out of my bed.
Yeah. It's you know, it becomes an addiction. And what you really like about the BTCC is the stories that go on with it, you know. And it's just like you know, your team. The story of how the actual team was put together was just absolutely phenomenal. It really got fans' interest, you know. And I think going forward, I think if you ever needed crowdfunding, I don't think you'd struggle. I don't think you'd be one of the drivers who'd struggle to get that support with people. I mean, as I said, you know, the massive growth on the Facebook following this week. How does that sudden fame change you? I mean, has that really sort of made you aware that you're in the BTCC this week?
It has. I don't want that to change me. You know, I think people like me because I'm approachable and you know, a nice guy. I have a chat, and I don't really want to ever change that. You know.
That I can agree with. Yeah, you are. I always said that you're a legend. Like, not sucking up, but I genuinely think that.
But yeah, disagreeing. You know, I think that's why people do like the way that I go about my racing, and you know, at the end of the day, I'm a massive British touring car fan. You know, every round that there's been where I've not been racing, I've generally been there. You know, I used to go and sleep in the back of Reese and Field's tent, just so I could be at the meetings, and you know, I always wanted to be there. And it was some cold nights, but you know, it was well worth it. And I know that if I hadn't have been there doing that, getting the ITV, you know, commentary jobs, you know, or the odd one-off race here and there, I wouldn't have the opportunity that I've just had at Croft. And I really think that this could be the kind of the making of me as a driver in the British touring cars, and hopefully the team as well. And you know, it is exciting, and I owe an awful lot to kind of the fans that have supported me over the years, because without them it genuinely wouldn't have been possible. You know, either the YRC project in 2012 or the T-shirts that we did in 2013. You know, that paid for the set of tyres, and genuinely we that had to come off, otherwise we couldn't afford tyres for the weekend.